What's up, crew? Dennis here, and I want to share some feelings this morning. I have a few questions I've been asking myself, and I want to ask you. Do you believe in free will? It's a legit question, and there are actually people who do not believe in free will. And based on a lot of the feedback I get from, I don't even want to say clients, but from like leads from, looking at the fitness community and interacting with people who are maybe interested in getting started, but then ultimately don't, or they say later, their excuses, their reasonings would indicate a lack of free will or a lack of freedom. But I believe in free will. But I think there's a few things standing in the way of free will. I think denial is one of the most powerful vices of the human condition. It's one of the biggest obstacles. It protects us, it protects our ego. But not really. It protects us from feeling vulnerable and admitting our I'm searching for the right word. I want to say weakness, but yeah, our vulnerability. Our fragility, and maybe what we would perceive as being less than. And denial protects us, and it externalizes our excuses. But if everything in our life is dictated by externalities, then we don't have free will. And so I think the first step is honesty, and that's actually the first step in the 12-step program. Honesty with yourself and admitting that a lot of these excuses are in your control. And if they're in your control, then you have freedom and you have free will when you choose to act on that. The other obstacle, I'll say there's two more, is knowledge. Admittedly, if we don't have the knowledge, we don't have free will. And then the third piece I would say is addiction. And so let me tell a story real quick. So I was interacting with a customer. For those of you know, I have two jobs. One of the jobs I do nutrition and supplement education. I work in a grocery store. And I was interacting with this customer, and she was going on about her husband who is addicted to soda or pop. And, he drinks it was something outrageous, 12 Cokes a day. And so she's spinning me this story about how it's the fault of society and advertising. He was raised in, it was like Louisiana or something like that, where Coke, forgive me if it's not Louisiana, but it's a southern state, and there was a Coke plant, and Coca-Cola, they really hit that state hard with advertising and creating a culture and really normalizing Coca-Cola and Coca-Cola products. And so she's saying, it's not really his fault. He was just brought up this way, and it's normal to him. But then literally in the same breath, there was not even a period, it was a semicolon. She says, and he has a bachelor's degree in biology, and he works at, it was some health related field. And I'm like, oh, okay, stop. Yeah, fine. He was raised in a culture where drinking soda was normal. Okay, I'll forgive him for that. He's, just a kid, lacking free will. He's being, our destinies are largely being determined by our parents. But You have the knowledge now. You got a degree in biology. You understand. The moment you got that knowledge, you had the opportunity for freedom. You had the opportunity for free will, but you chose denial. You are not being honest with yourself. And I can't imagine anybody's going to push me back on that. Other than maybe we'll argue addiction. And that's fine, but even then, you have to be honest with yourself that you're addicted. And if you're not seeking help or seeking ways out of this pattern, you're not being honest with yourself. And try this experiment. The next time you go to have, right before you consume something that's not good for you, alcohol, caffeine, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be the worst thing in the world, or maybe it is a horrible thing. Just pay attention to your inner dialogue. And I guarantee you there's some story in there that you're saying the reason why this is okay and good. I mean, I'll give you an example. Like, I'm a fitness guy. I do strength and conditioning. I've been running on the track. And I started thinking, oh yeah, well, Matt Fraser, the fittest man in the world, he eats Snickers bars after his hard intervals. And endurance guys, they drink flat Coke because it's quick carbs and it quickly restores your muscle glycogen. So in that context, immediately after a really hard workout, this sugar is really good for you, and that's fine. But guess what? I started telling myself that story when I have a Coke craving, and it wasn't even after a workout. It's like I worked out yesterday, and I'm justifying muscle glycogen restoration I'm justifying soda for that reasoning. And it's not even scientifically. I know better. I know the science. Maybe you guys are like, what the hell are you talking about right now? I know the science. I know it's not true. But I start telling myself this story. That is literally lying to ourselves. That is denial because of an addiction. And for all the people who are going to say, oh, what, sugar's not an addiction, there's no withdrawal, blah, I don't care. If you're out of control with a substance, it's an addiction, okay? And so how do we know if we're in control or not? Well, here's an experiment. Let's say I have a magic wand, and I say, tomorrow, you have the day off. You have the freedom, absolute freedom, from all your responsibilities. Everything's going to be fine. The house is going to be fine. The family's going to be fine. Work's going to be fine. Promise you, it's like a free day. The rest of the world pauses. And you can do whatever the hell you want. I can just snap my fingers. You could be where you want. You could do what you want. How are you spending that day? How are you spending that day? I want you to visualize it. If there's alcohol involved in that day, if there's sugar involved in that day, there's TV, social media, video games, sex, porn, maybe consider that you're a little bit out of control. Just consider it. Because my premise is that the default state for the human animal, the human being, the human machine is health. And if we asked prototype paleo guy from 10,000 years ago how he'd spend that day, I don't know. This is speculation, but my hypothesis is that he would say something like, he'd go out on a perfect hunt. It'd be a beautiful day. The sun and the wind was at his back the whole time. He tracked with ease and killed with the first throw, or I don't know, bow, however he's hunting, spear, bow, whatever. Or maybe he's a fisherman and it's just a beautiful day on the beach, rich. But I think it would be things that would result in health. And that's what I'm getting at here. I'm not trying to accuse you guys of being alcoholics or sure. I'm asking how you spent that day. Would there be a hangover the next day of some sort? Would there be a weight gain? Would there be brain fog? Tell me. I mean, would it get you closer to what you're hoping for, your goal? And that's my question is like, if I give you the ultimate freedom to do what you want, and you're telling me you want to be fit, you want to be healthy, but you had that ultimate freedom, and you express that you spend that day, pounding a case of beer or whatever, then you don't really want it, or at least there's some cognitive dissonance there. A part of you wants it, but a deeper part of you, a more primal part of you, wants something that's much more destructive. And I'm not here to shame you. What I'm saying is we have to be honest. I deal with this. We all deal with this. And sometimes we want the substance to enhance the experience. Like I suffered from using tobacco. I was using dip, and I my reasoning for starting that, it's a long story, but there became associations and triggers. So it's like, man, if you gave me ultimate freedom, one of the things I might choose to do is play golf. I mean, and that's a beautifully constructive thing. You're out in nature, you're challenging yourself. You're presumably playing with some other people, having some good social interaction, positive interactions. But there's a small part of me that says I would like to have dip and alcohol and cigar or whatever, and to really enhance that experience, to amplify it. And that is a little tricky. And so what you have to ask yourself is, well, which one would you be happier doing? Just sitting around with your buddies, drinking beer, smoking cigars, or going to play golf, but leaving all that home? And that's going to be indicative, truly, of your likelihood for success on a fitness journey. If you're like, it sounds more fun to drink beer and smoke cigars, leave the golf behind, there's some things we got to work on if we're going to make real progress. You're dealing with some addiction, okay? I'm not an addiction counselor. I am sharing my feelings here. The path to free will is freedom plus knowledge. We know, okay? We know these things aren't great for us. And so if you don't know that alcohol, that sugar, that excessive TV, that video games, that social media are going to get in the way of your fitness journey, and you're listening to this, well, now you know. I'm telling you. It will. And so now that you know, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to be honest with yourself? Let me give you another example. I know how good sunlight is for me. Literally, the sun in my eyes and the cascading hormones, all my circadian rhythms and dopamine, endorphin, my feelings, everything. And also the UVB rays on my skin and my even testosterone, boosting anabolic hormones, like all kinds of mechanisms for how the sun is good for you. Let alone just breathing in some fresh air and feeling the grass on your feet and hearing the birds and just the peace that comes with it. I'm standing there in my living room yesterday. The door is within arm's distance, within reach. It's beautiful, sunny on my back patio, and there's a chair right there, and all I got to do is just walk out that door and soak in the sun. And I could literally, and everything was taken care of, and I could literally be there, close my eyes, and imagine I'm on a beach in we all know that's like one of the best states of mind you could be in, just like soaking in the sun, imagining you're in a peaceful place on the beach or in a forest, by a waterfall, wherever it is. I could be there right now. And yet I almost chose to sit down on my couch in my not so well lit living room and stare at the TV. And I guarantee I would have been watching TV and had my phone in my hand. And that was a real fight I had. I chose to go outside. But I got to be honest with myself. What is going on there? Okay? What's going on there? If you have to fight to do the thing that's going to benefit you so much, then let's be honest. We're dealing with some addiction. Okay? Again, guys, I'm not accusing you. I don't even know who you are. This isn't at my clients. And if one of my clients who's listening to this right now, we've probably addressed this. We've probably talked about this to some degree. I'm talking to the person who can't even get started, and they don't know why, right? Or maybe they just say tomorrow, or now's not a good time. And I guess I'm calling bullshit. I'm asking you, are you in control? Do you have free will or not? Maybe you'd say no. It's fine, live your life like that. But I don't want to accept that. So how do you get free will? Knowledge and honesty. Now you know. If you watch this, now you know. You know what's in your way. Be honest with yourself. Do you actually want to get fit, or you just want to snap your fingers and look a certain way? Because that's not going to happen. So let's be honest about that. Forget that. It's not real. Okay, let's live in reality. Part of honesty, a part of freedom and free will, is dealing with reality. Look, I know this is preachy, but I'm talking to myself as much as I'm talking to you guys. I deal with these same struggles. I lie to myself all the time when it's convenient. All the time. I see it everywhere in the industry, from fitness professionals. Rationalizing sugar, rationalizing. It's so easy to rationalize it because balance, balance. Yeah, fine. Balance is fine. Okay. Balance is fine. But moderation of these powerful addictions does not mean what we've normalized it to mean. Okay. Our drinking culture is not normal. Okay. I worked in a mental health clinic that dealt with substance abuse. Again, I'm not a counselor, but I dealt with it. All of it stemmed from just normal weekend warrior type drinking. Okay? All that substance abuse. The people who told you that they got addicted to opioids because their doctor prescribed it are not bullshitting you. They did. Okay? It's not normal. It's okay to have moderation, but moderation is not what our culture is all about. Our culture is a culture of excess. Now you have that knowledge. Okay, be honest with yourself. If you're not getting to your goals, there's some excess. I guarantee that's in the way. Check your systems. Food, sleep, movement, mindset. What isn't set up optimally? Again, your default should be the healthy thing. In theory. We've only been around for 2 million years. Right? But, part of it is the reason we are vulnerable to addiction is because we once lived in a land of scarcity. And so we were wired to binge. And now we live in a land of abundance. So now you know. What are you going to do with it? Just asking questions today. Just reflecting, just trying to be honest. I do believe I have some answers, but that's reserved for the one-on-one coaching. So, all right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this. It was fun sharing my feelings. All right, y'all. Peace.